Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Tom Stewart here, Smart Business Moves. Got Liz on the West Coast. How are you today, Liz?
Hi, y'all. I'm well. We also have
And
Elena here on the West Coast, popular over here.
yeah, I guess Las Vegas is more West Coast than it is anything else. How are you today, Elena?
I'm doing great, thank you. Thanks for having me again.
Oh, thank you for being here. This is going to be a lot of fun. Elena's been busy doing a lot of projects, and she's been selling a ton of jobs, and she's going to be telling us some tricks on how she's doing that. And that will be useful to all of us. Just real quick for the rest of the week, what is today? Wednesday? That means we've got Thursday, and that's it for the week in terms of smart business moves. We're doing on the spot tomorrow. One of our favorite things to do. Bring your
Yep. Hey, Marlo.
Hi, Marlo.
And Christina's on. She said she was going to be on to see you, Elena, and support you. There she is.
Here we go. So bring your questions tomorrow, and Liz, myself, and our secret guest all get 1 minute on the clock to answer your questions. You have a hint for us today, Liz?
So we already told you that everybody likes her, and that she also really, really likes numbers. And then she also is a big fan of window cleaning. So if y'all don't have it today, then you're probably not going to get it. Although I know that at least one person has already guessed correctly. So, yeah. Hey, Sarah, you're right. Everybody does love Elena.
Absolutely.
That's true.
Thank you.
Real quick before we get started, just a little news. I guess there's some information coming out of Washington today that Congress is maybe getting closer to having some type of deal for the stimulus package, and part of that would be new federal unemployment benefits would be coming out. Initially, the Republicans in the Senate wanted to do an extra $200 a week. Currently, or at least they were doing $600 a week. The Democrats in the Senate, and I guess that the House as well, wanted to continue to do it at $600 a week. Most recently, it looks like at the point where the Republicans are coming back and saying that, well, let's do $400 or $500 a week, maybe in August. We can get in September, maybe knock it down to $400 a week, and maybe once we get past September, we can do 80% of the replacement wage, thinking that the states could get their computer systems working in a way where they could actually do that fancy math. People are kind of thinking that maybe they could, maybe they couldn't. Maybe knock it down to $300 a week. It looks like that we're going in a direction that it's going to be more than $200 a week. So it might not be $600, but it sounds like it still might be enough for a lot of house cleaning companies, when you throw the state back on top of it, that it would be more than what they would traditionally be making cleaning homes. And that would be going on through the balance of the year. So, it's not law yet. They haven't even passed a bill, but we were thinking that everybody was going to lose their unemployment insurance and jump back into workforce in groves. I don't think it looks like it probably won't work that way.
Yep, that you are not the bearer of glad tidings today, Tom. I expected better from you, Tom.
I'm doing my best. I'm just telling it like it is, Liz. Just telling it like it is.
I guess unprecedented times, we get unprecedented expectations, right?
What you gonna do?
Try to get us on here live so I can comment to everybody. Well, that's just not encouraging, but I mean, we've been staying operational with $600, so we should be able to stay operational with less, right?
We can manage. We can
manage. And really, as long as everybody's staying open and we're still allowed to clean, I mean, I feel like that's a win right now. Oh, Liz, 2 of her girls got COVID. Yeah. Did they? Liz, are you saying granted some people $500? That's what you're saying. Not that they got
all
COVID,
of that
right?
in the state of California?
Yeah.
I guess.
So is that after the 25th of July?
After the federal money's ran out, they just dug deeper, spending money that they don't have.
Yeah.
Oh,
California has really high cost of living, so I don't know if they could survive without it, frankly. Just
yeah.
so, yeah.
And they are pretty, California is
Yeah.
pretty well known for, really working for the employees. So it's,
Yep.
that's not surprising to
So
me.
the station's making up the difference. Okay.
The only part that is surprising about that is that they're not requiring the businesses to pay it.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. You don't know that to be true either.
That's true. I mean, it is California, so they don't love small businesses there like some other states do. Okay, well, they got an extension. Okay, well, good to know.
So
California is I like to hear what's going on in California because it's a little bit trickier there. And we can pretty much count on that whatever is happening in California is going to be a little bit easier wherever the rest of us are.
Yeah.
I think, okay, that's a win.
You make it in California, you can make it anywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
$600 there than 600 in North Dakota. Yeah, oh my gosh, such a good point, Leslie.
wow.
Such a good point.
So Elena, what's been going on in your world?
Staying busy and doing a lot of coaching, doing a lot of running another company now, Boss Security Screens, in addition to running Superb Maids. And so through my coaching, I find out that a lot of, and even now with Boss too, I find out that what really helps me a lot is educating and pre-selling to the customer and kind of convincing them to go with us, even before they pick up the phone or try to get in touch with us, because that's really making my job way easier and making my staff job way easier. They don't have to convince anybody. I don't have to cut the prices. It's like I was telling you guys before we hopped on, we just landed Property Brothers, which I never even watched. I don't have TV, but they're apparently a big deal. They're billionaires, right? They have a syndicate show on HGTV, and they renovate homes. So they reached out to us and they said, we wanted to work with you guys for our show. So whenever we clean, we want you guys to come in and, clean it all up and make it all showroom ready, right? Show ready. And I said, oh, I would love to work with you. And they said, can you give us a discount, right? Can you give us a discount because, of who we are and the volume? We'll give you a lot of properties. And I said, like, who's the billionaire? Who is the billionaire in that relationship? So
I really love that answer. I was hoping you were going to say it. I'm like, oh, I love that answer.
Yeah, like we just decided to kind of stick to our prices because they're not arbitrary, they're fair, and they ensure fair wages and all the good business practices and profit margin and charity that we do. So we stuck by it. We don't need more business, frankly. So we just said, no, we can't give a discount. So they just disappeared. They came back again a couple of days later and said, can you work after hours? We still want to go with you. And I said, no, I can't, because, a lot of my employees are mothers and they have children and they just don't want to do after hours. And that's quality of life that's very important to us. So they disappeared again, then came back and said, well, can you at least work on Sundays? And we said, no, we can't. We can't work after hours, before hours on Sundays or at the discount. And I thought, after they disappeared last time, I thought I'm never going to hear from them again. And they came back anyways, and we're servicing them now. So it's been interesting. I think a big part of why they insisted on us is because they got that they did the research, right? So it's not them themselves that called, it's a production manager, and she had to choose the best provider, do her homework, and have confidence in that we can deliver results and not let her down, while she's coordinating this very complex operation and production. And I did it without me selling it to her or explaining it to her. Like, she convinced herself and insisted on working with us despite everything. So
Elena, go ahead, Tom.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Liz.
So what I'm hearing here is super encouraging. I can't wait to hear you talk more in depth about, because one of the things that we hear constantly every day, I see this on the message boards, that we can't compete when other people in our area are charging $15, $20 per labor hour. So do you not have that type of competition in Las Vegas, this low price competition?
We
I guess,
do. It's a transitory town, and it's full of solos or smaller companies or companies who employ illegal immigrants. And so we definitely do that, but we never set out to compete with those. They're not our competition. So if somebody wants to cut costs and go for the cheapest, brain surgeon, that's not our patient. So we are the top neurosurgeon, and we service the best brains with the most money. So
How many jobs in a week would you be doing for them?
I actually haven't looked, but they sent us a full schedule, and it's probably right now 2 to 3 jobs a day.
2 to 3 a day. Okay, so
oh wow,
an individual couldn't help them with that. They don't want to be in the business of trying to manage multiple individuals. So
Exactly.
they'd be working with a real company. And are there other like large competitors?
Yes, there are. There's all franchises and larger companies, more older companies, more established companies than we are. But I think the disadvantage they have is they got started earlier than us, so they were behind on some of the technology or content generation, or like a media management, PR, and all these other things that kind of like a new generation. So some of them are adapting, but they're behind the curve. So we have, I guess, advantage.
So they're behind not necessarily in the service they deliver, but they're behind in terms of how they market and advertise and promote.
Yes. If what's that saying? If the tree fell in the forest but nobody heard it, did it really happen, right? So if you have trees falling for you, or you make them fall, but nobody knows about it, it's not published anywhere, it's not proven somehow, then did it really happen?
Yeah.
It didn't happen. It doesn't exist. As far as the client is concerned, it doesn't exist. There are no trees.
Right.
They have to be aware.
Yeah.
They have to know about it.
You have to not just say we're the best, we do this, we do that. You have to prove it. I kind of got it from my legal profession. When you convince the judge, persuade the judge or the jury to rule in your favor, you have to show the proof. It's not just your position advocating for yourself, saying we're the best company in Las Vegas. You can show the awards. You can show the map of your customers. You can show, your license and insurance. You can show your reviews. You can show like all these other things that like validate who you are, instead of you saying that.
If you go to trial with no evidence, if you don't have exhibit A, B, C, it's not much of a trial. You're just basically making a plea.
Go to trial, but you can like win or lose, and you're not doing yourself a service or your client a service. So I feel like, for our businesses, we owe it to them to produce that evidence and put it out there. You only have to produce it one time. You don't have to constantly tweak it, and that's the best part.
That's an interesting thought. Though, promote your business like you're going in front of a judge and present your evidence in a way like you're trying to convince a jury. I love that.
And I love it too, because that is what you're actually doing. There is somebody judging your company, deciding whether you're the right company or not. So, I mean, how is it not the same? Yeah, that's awesome. I never thought of it like that.
Embroiled in our business, we don't see the forest. We're in the trees, right? And we do it all the time. We feel like everybody knows that we are the best, right? We work so hard. Obviously, we have the best people, right? So, but nobody knows actually. So, what you have to do, maybe your customers know, your existing customers know, but the future prospective customers, they don't know. So, I think if you kind of place yourself in that position of assuming that they don't know, and then helping them educate themselves, why you're the best, then you are asking them to give you a lot of money, entrust you with their home, with their children's health, with their family's health, with their possessions, right? That's a lot. That's a big ask. So how do you convince them that you're worthy of that trust? What if you set the house on fire and run away? What if you steal their cash or jewelry? What if you do a shitty job and then just refuse to take ownership of that?
Yeah, so all of that stuff is stuff that does happen too, is the thing. So
sure. But
they're having to decide, is it going to be your company that is going to screw me over, or is it going to be the other company? Which company is going to screw me over less?
Yeah.
So in terms of this property management group, do you think there's anything to the psychology of saying no? Like, fear of loss? You're saying no. Every time you say no, does that make them want you more?
Maybe because I'm used to saying no. Like sometimes I rarely talk to the clients, but whenever I go in and talk to anybody, I just tell them straight up what do they need and what do they not need. And sometimes I'll tell them like, we're not the right provider for you. Like you don't have the budget for us, or you this is not the right setup. You need a frequent service at low price point, and we're a much higher price point, for example. I wouldn't recommend it. And they're like, nope, we really, or they will say, so I was interviewing with one of the largest realty groups, and they have in-house property management group. So they manage hundreds of properties. So they asked me for a meeting. So I went out to meet with a guy, and he's like, well, we do this and that and that, and we really want to work with you. We've heard a lot about you, and we really insist on working with you. And I said, okay, that's fine. But the only problem is, a lot of these property management groups, they refuse to pay our full rate. They want a discount because of the volume.
Yeah.
Volume, right? So, and I'm like, volume is just more work for us and no money, right? So I don't want to do that. So our price will be full rate. Like whatever everybody else is paying, that's what you're going to be paying. Whether you're a billionaire or little old lady, it's the same price. So he was like, no, that's fine. That's fine. We had somebody cheaper. So we know, right? We'll pay you full rate. And I said, okay. And then another thing is like, we need to be paid right away. Like, I don't want to wait for 90 days. And he's like, well, that's not normally how we pay, but okay. All right. So he even accepted that. So it's like, you can hold your ground. And if you can deliver on the goods and make it worth that sacrifice that they're trying to do, then they will make that decision in your favor.
And if they don't, it really isn't a customer that you want, because I don't want to wait for 90 days for my money.
I'm always trying to generally help them. And I can tell them like, look, like we're not, you have a high volume operation and you need somebody at low cost. That's not us. If you need somebody working after hours at minimum wage, that's not us. Like that's hire. I usually recommend hire somebody in-house. Just bring them in as an employee. And that's really in their best interest. That's not in mine, but they're like, nope, we want to work with you. So, and they just still choose it. So maybe it's the no issue. I don't know. I don't feel like you don't have anything to offer and just come in and say, no, they're still going to hire you. You have to also be worth the yes. Right? So,
important to that is building your business in a way where you can afford to walk away from the large accounts. If you can pay the bills and do what you need to do financially by just doing, Mrs. Jones's house every other week, it makes it a whole lot easier to say, no, we really don't do discounts and we really don't do terms. And, we're really good. We can rock the service for you, but in order to make the numbers work for us, this is what you need to do. And be willing to walk away. And that's awesome.
We actually fired our largest client that had Airbnb holders. That was last year. And they had, I can't remember, 45 properties with us with constant turnovers, right? And so great people. I love working with them, but super disorganized. It's like basically young kids, right, who came into a lot of money and they just bought a bunch of properties, and really joyful individuals. However, their management had a lot of problems, just a lot of issues with late check-ins or late check-outs and lack of communication, dropping the balls. And our company will compensate for it. We'll go in and we'll wait. We'll do the right thing. We'll always cover for them, right? So, but eventually it became too stressful for my staff. And so finally we just let them go. I said, I'm sorry. And then as I'm letting them go, like final texting back and forth, they tried to change. They said, we'll do this, we'll do that, we'll change, we'll hire more people. Like they try. And finally I'm like, I'm sorry. So I'm texting them and they're like, can we still be friends? When we're in Vegas. And I'm like, yes. So we parted on good terms. And 2 months later, they tried to find other providers. And then 2 months later, I told my partner, watch, 2 months later, they'll like actually try to come back to again, like even though we are the ones who let them go. And sure enough, they try to come back. They're like, well, we changed. We're doing this and that better. And would you consider us and all of that last year? And we wouldn't take them. So.
I do have to say that confidence is also sexy, attractive. People like people that are, and companies that are confident. I feel confident hiring a company that knows what they're doing and knows what they do and what they stand for, and if they know what they do and they know what they don't do, then I also can know that. Otherwise, I know I'm probably going to have some frustration, some disappointment, some, some of my expectations are not going to be met. If they say they can do everything, chances are good that they're going to drop the ball somewhere, because there just aren't a whole lot of companies or people that do everything. I don't know of any. So I can see how that is very attractive too.
It's almost like two sides of the equation. In some regards, companies like to own their contractors, have enough leverage over them where, this contractor is going to jump through hoops for me because they really need my business. But at the same time, if that contractor is so desperate that they need their business, maybe they aren't that good to begin with. So, I've never really thought of it that way, but you might actually have more sway if you can convince them, I'm so good, I really don't need your business, but I'll take it and I'll do a good job for you.
Yeah, and the thing is, we do jump through the hoops, and that was part that was killing us with that largest client. Every time we'll just lay down our bones, right? When they fail, it will be us doing everything. It will be us fixing the washers and dryers, or running out to laundromat, or even buying our own, like we bought our own like laundry washing machine and drying machine just to help them out, right? And so it was incredible things we've done for them, and that's why we're still friends. Like there's
you were able to charge extra for all of that?
We did, yeah, and that was part of the contention too. They agreed to that, but then it wasn't fully communicated, and it was back and forth. And so when they tried to come back last time, I told them, we're gonna raise your price by 30% across the board to accommodate for that like shit show, right? Like my husband's like, don't use that word, but I have no other word to describe them, right? So as much as I love them,
Sure.
yeah.
You have a very large vocabulary. That being said, sometimes you just have to use the word. I guess.
Yeah, it is what it is, and
See that, Liz? I told you.
It's true, Tom. I'm not stopping you from using whatever words you want to use. You use them. But so I mean, I really understand that too, because as much as confidence is sexy and attractive, neediness is not. It is as far as you can get from that. And so when people are meeting all your needs, and that you are a problem, you're a problem customer, and they're still getting it, I mean, it's hard to give up that company. I would find it really difficult myself. I know that I'm screwing up over and over again. For whatever reason, we're not there. We don't have the key ready. We don't have our part done.
One time one of the properties was burglarized, and it was violently burglarized. So everything was stripped down to TVs, like dishes. There were holes in the wall. There were knives stuck into the wall. So it was like really bad. And they had people coming in that afternoon checking in. And we told them, can you cancel the clients or transfer them or whatever, right? And they're like, no, please, we don't have any other opportunity, possibility. Please fix it. So within that time, between 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. was whole hands on board. Like our whole company was in that property, fixing it, like cleaning it up, replacing all the stuff from the forks to TVs, like everything. And so the owner actually drove up and looked at it from LA, and he walked in. Nobody knew who he was. Like he's a young guy, and he just stood there and watched us. And afterwards, he gave everybody $100 tips. And they're like, "Who are you?" Right? And so he was so shocked, and he told me like, your partner refused to take any tips from me. Like, what do I give to her? Like, can I send her flowers? I'm like, buy extra dryer for each property you have. And he ended up buying extra dryer. I mean, he really appreciated it because we really like worked our butts off that day. And that's the stuff we did for them. It wasn't because I could have just walked away and said like, we're not going to do it. Screw you. Like, that's outside of our responsibilities, fix your house. So they had guests check in that afternoon into like almost brand new.
I'm picturing the knife in the wall. That's the one that keeps getting to me, right? It's like, all right, I yank the knife out of the wall, but then I got to repair the wall. So that's
in the coordinated contractors because their managers weren't doing the job. So
yeah, that's a little outside of the typical scope of work I would imagine for your company. So yeah, that's some above and beyond service right there. So it's interesting, Elena. Maybe you can explain this for the audience. So how do you determine when you're willing to go above and beyond and when you're not? So for this customer, you were willing to go in and do all of these things that you normally don't do. You shopped for electronics, you bought dishes and silverware, you hired a contractor to repair a wall, but I'm not going to work nights. Where's that line? How do you decide what is a hard yes and what is a hard no?
There's so for each customer we'll go above and beyond as a rule. But there's two qualifies to be our customer. You have to be nice and have money, right? So those clients were super nice to us always. They loved us. We loved them. They're great. We always enjoyed each other. However, in terms of money, they paid full rates too. They asked us for volume discount and we said no, and they took us at full rates. However, because of some of these issues we had to experience with them, they were costing us money, and actually we're had really small profit margin with them. So after we analyzed it, we're like, well, the money part doesn't work out. That's why we said, if you come back, you have to pay us extra so we can hire a manager just to manage your properties internally, right? Since you're not able to do it yourself after 2 years of trying. So they said no, and so the answer would be no. We push you off the off the edge of being that customer and get rid of that problem altogether. So that's why, as long as you're a customer today, we'll take care of you. But to remain that customer, you have to be nice, because we don't care if you like a billionaire, and if you mistreat our staff or anybody in our company, despite of how much money you pay us, it's not worth it to us. So we'll let go of those people too. So at the end of the day, we end up with nice customers who have high profit margins for us.
So I love the simplicity of that, right? It's just two things. You just gotta be nice and you gotta have money. And those two things work, and we decide that, so you gotta be nice, you gotta have money, but you also have to become a customer, you also have to fit into the original scope of work. So initially, you wouldn't have agreed to this company. They're nice, they have money, and they say, but we're going to need you to sometimes buy electronics within 4 hours. You probably wouldn't have taken them on.
That was never agreed upon, but it's something like we never leave our customers, high and dry. So if they're under the gun, right, they have like this dire need. Like somebody called us, he lives in Hawaii and he owns a property here, and he said he got a notice from HOA that they're going to fine him because there's somebody left a piece of carpet in front of his property. It's not even like his carpet. He's like, can you guys save me, please? And so we send one of our employees to pick it up and discard it. And again, we're not a trash disposal, but it's a very nice customer. Always pays us really well, treats us really well. He's from Hawaii, so we just took care of it. Now, if he's going to make a habit of it, we're not a concierge service, so we refer them to someone else for that.
All right, so what I'm hearing is, until you're a customer, we got some hard and fast rules. This is what you're going to have to agree to. After you're a customer, you can expect us to wow you almost every time. So we're all about wowing the customer afterwards, but we're not setting it up that way from the beginning. We want the expectation to be, this is our service, this is what you can expect from us. And if they're good with that, they're nice and they have money, and then, all right, we're moving forward.
But if you're having to stretch too far to wow them, you'll have that discussion of maybe we shouldn't be doing business together moving forward.
Yeah, we'll charge for it. We'll just say, you pay us $40 an hour, and then we'll do things for you.
Yeah, it sounds like you're willing to stretch.
Even so, eventually you'll fire them, though, if you're having to continuously going out to, blow your day up to take care of them.
Exactly. Just charge how aggravating it is to deal with them.
Okay, but what I heard, Tom, was no, she's willing to blow her day up repeatedly, ongoing, as long as the money is still there. But it wasn't.
Basically, you keep raising the rate to the point where they can't stand the pain anymore.
Because she said 30%, and they were like, too rich for our blood.
Well, we had somebody who asked us for an estimate, and my partner went out, and she said property is beautiful, it's large, it's going to be a large amount, but the customer is extremely nitpicky, and she's like, I can tell he's going to stand over her shoulder, and he's going to go over every single square inch, and it's going to take way long. And I'm like, why don't you just give him triple the quote? Mm-hmm. And she did, and he accepted it. So we had to do it. And he was very nitpicky, but he was happy.
Yeah. So. A lot of picky people are happy to pay. I talk a lot about a job that I have, 1,600 square foot house. I clean it weekly, and they pay me $289 a week.
Yeah.
And they're happy to pay $289 a week because they want this stuff done every single week, and they can't find anybody that will do it because the house is already clean, right? It's immaculate. It's one lady that lives there.
It has
So
to be perfection.
yeah, she wants it perfect and she doesn't want it perfect because it's already perfect when we walk in. She wants the confidence that all of that stuff is going to be done. $289 worth of work is going to be done every single time, regardless of what the house looks like. You know, and that's hard to get. It's hard to do.
Yeah.
So, I mean, people will pay for that pickiness. Not everybody will pay for their pickiness, but you know, the majority of people will pay for that pickiness if they have the money, if they can afford it.
Plus, no one else wants to, you know, so
Yeah.
yeah. Like not nice, you know, that's another thing. If they're completely not nice, then we just let it go on the spot.
Yeah. If they're abusive, there's no amount of money in the world that can fix that. But if they're playing within the rules and just don't have their stuff together and you're having to spend extra time with them, if they're willing to buy that time, you'll keep them as a customer as long as they're willing to pay for it.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'll do I'll do almost anything once you're my customer.
Yeah.
As long as you're willing to pay for it, I'm your gal. But if you don't want to pay for it, I don't even want to be having that conversation. If we're even having a conversation where you don't want to pay for something that you want me to do, it's not feeling like a good match for us right now.
We do the same thing. You know, an example would be, you know, that customer that wants you to arrive at their house exactly at 11 o'clock. And it's like, well, you know, can't guarantee we'll be there at 11. Well, yeah, I can guarantee we'll be there at 11. Basically, you start paying for our time at 8 and we'll just hang out for 2 hours and, you know, or 3 hours and show up at 11. And if you're willing to pay for that, we'll be there exactly at 11. And then they get to say no.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a mutual relationship, right? So it needs to be sustainable and not aggravating to either party. So just the concept.
But the thing that you're doing that I really like, that I think is different than a lot of companies do, is whether you're a billionaire or you're a little old lady, right? The rules are the same. I don't think a lot of people do that. They don't have the
courage.
Yeah, the courage and the strength, the conviction to do that. They feel like, no, this big job, you know, I'm going to have to modify because I need to get this job, you know, or maybe not need, but it'll be worth it to me. They justify it. Like, it'll be worth it to me to get this job because blah, blah, blah. They're such a big company.
I'm just trying to figure this out from the buyer's perspective. They're probably thinking, wow, I've been in business for X number of years. I wish I had that type of courage. I want them to work for me.
Yeah.
If the situation were reversed, would they have the courage not to, because they probably give, you know, concessions all the time to, you know, large accounts and other things. That's just kind of standard operating procedure. Probably don't like it sometimes. I could see that really working in your favor that way.
I think if you're a client who is like very wealthy, you have an inner suspicion of people who try to overcharge you because they feel like you own a casino or something and you're a billionaire or millionaire, or a doctor or a lawyer. Like, people are going to overcharge you. And so when they realize that, no, your price is the same as it would be for anyone else, they appreciate it a lot. And conversely, you know, if somebody who is, you know, who can afford us, but just the regular customer, they understand that their rate is the same as everybody else's rate. It's a very fair, it's a fundamental fairness of it. I think that's it's fair. And we do have a lot of free cleanings too. We clean for first responders. We clean like a discounted rate for first-time moms. Not first-time moms, like a mom who just had a baby within 6 months. And it's a very flexible, you know, definition, but we do free cleanings. You know, we did free cleanings for all the victims and first responders' families after the Mandalay Bay shooting, which I'm very proud of. So it's like we're able to do that stuff because we're so selective with our customers and we make them pay full rates, just margin to do this kind of thing.
Yeah, because you wouldn't be able to do that if you're giving Property Brothers and everybody else discounts. That's where the money went then, with the billionaires.
we had a long-time customer who emailed to us after the shooting, and we've been doing things, and he said, I was gonna actually reach out to you and talk about my rates to see if it could be discounted, but after I saw what you guys are doing, I decided against it. So thank you for that. So
Sure.
yeah, that's
Nice. Yeah. So go ahead, Tom. I see you had.
How's your business in general? New sales, you guys where's your business relative to pre-COVID?
It's about the same. It's maybe let's see, it's about maybe within 5 to 10% of the pre-COVID level, but higher profitability, because some of the clients who are like old clients, they were at lower rates and they're put us on pause, but they're replaced by newer clients at higher rates and one-time cleanings and fogging. So overall, we make more money with less work. So I'm happy, but the sales level are not 100% what they used to be. Of course, they're slightly lower.
Right.
Yeah.
From a labor standpoint, you're able to find help?
It's definitely a challenge. We have a lot of applicants, as we always did. However, the quality of this applicant seems to be very uneven. And I don't know, I haven't really participated in interviews, but from what my partner is saying, like sometimes people come over and they seem to be high or something, or they're just like out of it, or just like something is really fundamentally wrong with them. It's really scary why they're even there. So and that's a lot more of that. I mean, we've always had that to some extent, but
it is Las Vegas.
I'm picturing the people that are on the side of the road in Vegas sometimes that are just like laying there with their dogs. I'm like, I don't know.
We had enough good employees to come through, but for some reason, like lately, it's just been challenging, and we're still hiring, but it's definitely a challenge, and we kind of and that's actually kind of like our bottleneck now. We can take more. We can't take any more new clients, right? It's like unless we hire even more people, but we keep hiring, but they're not what we actually need. It's kind of some kind of compromise.
Yeah. So, well, you're not the only person dealing with that. As we all know. So I do have a question around like in Vegas. I know you have a lot of these. I talked about it a little bit earlier. I know you do have a lot of these smaller companies that can charge less money, that maybe don't even pay taxes or whatever. And you said that those aren't really your customers. You don't market to them, which is great. I mean, I know that we all say that, but when you say that, like, what are some examples of how you're not marketing to those customers that want to hire that person?
So when I went to Google and I started looking at, if you put in Superb Mates, one of the first things that pops up that Google suggests is Superb Mates cost or coupons a discount. So people really want to know the price and how to get it cheaper. Is there any kind of discount? So instead of saying, like, pretending that we're not going to talk about the price, I made a price page, and we always had a price page, but I really put it on steroids. And I called all of our competitors. I found out, well, not myself, but our staff, and we found out how many hours, like, what does it entail? Like, what's the price and what's included? And I found out that we spend a lot more time on each property. We just put in, like, we send more people for longer time than most of our competitors on average, right? So, and that's why the price is higher, because we do deeper level of cleaning. But if you look on the surface, like, we're way more expensive. And I had people laugh in my face when we first got started, like, for our price. And we quadrupled the prices, that laughing point, right? And people still buy us. So in the pricing page, I have explanation. So it's my pitch to the customer saying, like, we do cost more, but we cost like 30 to 40% more, but we spend, like, I can't remember, 40 or 50%. Actually, calculated the math. So the equation was, we actually spend more time on your property, so you get higher value. And that's really what customers want to know. Is it worth it? Are you worth it or not? So there was like a pitch on top. And then afterwards, it has pictures of all the beautiful work that we did, all this sparkling, sinks and, all these nice things that are so emotionally appealing to, somebody like who's our customer. And then afterwards, we talk about, we have a map of all of our customers, which is like hundreds of customers all over town. and reviews and like all the awards. And at the end, there's like a very small like write up about the prices in general. So after you read all that, you're like, all right, I guess it's worth it. You know, like I guess she gave me all the information I need to know, and people buy. So it's.
So I see Tom over there doing something. I'm guessing that he's not ignoring you and that he's probably pulling up your website. This is my guess.
You are clairvoyant.
I'm thinking, right?
Yeah.
All right. So I think he's probably going to share this with us a little bit and be able to see some of this.
Yeah. So if you look on prices page, you'll see well, first of all, go through the homepage and I'll show you like some of the stuff, because most people obviously are going to be on the homepage and going to make that decision. So first of all, there's pictures of our actual staff who are beautiful, right? They're not models, they're actual employees of ours. So they look very wholesome and you feel like you can trust the home with us. And then there's like me, who is like really charming, with my partner who's very charming, and her husband. So we're all very nice people. And so people can kind of get a real sense for that. There's all the charities we service, how selective we are. We hire 1 out of every 112 people who apply to us. So we've been featured in all these magazines. There's the list of all of our awards, our services, a letter from SBA congratulating us to, winning the Small Business of the Year for last year. And then Nevada State, did the video, had a video about us. There's Angela, a famous YouTube celebrity interviewed us, all the media appearances, local collaborations, local news, and there's a SEO mumbo jumbo at the end. So like you have everything you need to make the buying decision right here on the front page. You don't need to really go in there. But if you're like a budget conscious, you can go to prices. If you click on prices, you'll see information about the price. So like number of homes cleaned is actually higher now, but you can go below. And this is my pitch about we have, we spend significantly more time and manpower for each bookings than competitors. And the results are like really nice and shiny.
Real shiny.
Yeah, they're really shiny, and we're very proud of the work that we do. And this is the not the last 8 weeks, but I guess it was last 8 weeks when I posted it a couple of years ago. But that's an 8-week worth of clients. So it validates the decision that it's not going to go wrong with us.
Wherever you live, there's other people who are clean in there.
Yeah. So exactly. And then they can see that we're nice people. We're giving discounts to military. We're giving discounts to first responders, to new moms. They're like, okay, I mean, I guess so. I guess I understand that you're worth it. I can see it. So it's kind of like, again, convincing them without me saying that. I'm not saying we're the best. I'm just kind of proving it.
Yeah. But I feel like it is very much how you would present your case in front of a judge, like you said. Like, let me just show you all the proof, and you get to make the decision about whether or not I made my case. So either it's worth it or it's not after you've seen all this.
Once they convince themselves, there's nothing that can sway them after that, from that position.
Right. The only thing that can sway them after that is if you just completely drop the ball. Then they're like, oh my gosh, it was all a lie.
Yeah, and for the most part is forgiving, because that's the part where we step in and show, our true colors. We own it. We don't run away. We pay for any damages. We bring the best experts if something needs to be repaired. We don't get into pissing match. It's like we just take care of it.
So I noticed that you've got Book Now and several places on your site. Do you do what percentage of your new jobs come in through your online booking?
Almost 100%. Like it's very close to 100. It's 90 something, I think.
Wow, really? Yeah. So most of your work is coming through this platform.
Yep.
They look at the information you have on your website is compelling enough that that's all the information they need. They don't need to meet you. They don't need to talk to anybody on the phone. They're sold. Just here, take my credit card, clean my house.
Yep.
That's awesome.
And that's the part I love, because that means zero work for me. So I don't have to. Yeah. I'm so lazy.
What's not to love? Yeah, I love that too. I mean, that's freeing up everybody's time. And Marlo is asking here if you use an online booking software, Elena.
Yeah, we use Launch 27. We used it from the beginning. We still do. It has its limitations, but as far as the online booking format, it works really well. And actually, recently we changed the way, like, adjusted the pricing, how it works. You have to put in your square footage to get more precise. But people are still booking. I'm like, they're not going to book because that's like too confusing. But they're still booking. And people are saying if it's online, people are not going to add all the extra. They add extras. Like they add extras like crazy, like deep cleaning of the floor. Sometimes people used to call me. One time I got a call and they said, I see that you have a deep cleaning, and I added that. I added the normal, house cleaning, deep cleaning, plus extra deep cleaning. But do you have something extra? I want it extra. And I'm like,
Click it 3 times.
Yes, I do.
I don't have it yet, but we will. So, and I added, like, you can buy, if you go on the website, you can see, you can add extra time, just as many hours as you want. And people add it. Like, it's so surprising. And on the other hand, we go in there and we clean it. If everything is done and we, like, there's plenty of budget, we're like, we're just going to adjust your bill. Like, but it's like, we don't have to always do it, but we do it as well.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't argue with what works, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can, but to what end?
I made myself when we first got started 5 years ago, and I'm like, it needs to be more sleek or polished or whatever, but I'm afraid to touch it because, damn it, people are buying from it. So
I'm with you. I mean, why do you want to, especially if you're getting like over 90% of the people that are coming, they're booking right there. I mean, that says like worlds of information right there. You don't need to hear much more than that. So.
Yeah, and it saves so much in administrative costs. We don't have to explain to them our prices or policies. Everything is on there. Like if there's somebody, a lot of people started asking us as soon as Corona started, like, what do you guys do? What do you do for Corona? What are your procedures? So I put it right there on the front. Like as soon as you go on the homepage, it's like right on top of the page. It talks about all the Corona procedures because I had to outline it for my staff anyways. So I did it for both one time, right? And now nobody asked us about this. So
Elena, how do people get a hold of you personally then? So like the Property Brothers, they go to your website, they check this all out. They know they can't get a price there, what they're looking for because they have multiple properties, etc. Then does it just turn into them calling and they get you, or do they call and they get? How does that happen?
So we have online forms. They can call us, and people do call us occasionally. When you call us, there's actually greetings says, "Oh, thanks for calling. Go to our website." but if you still want to talk to us, all right, click on one. I think we have like 4 people covering the phone, so there's always somebody answering.
Okay.
And people are very nice, so they're very helpful. And we also have basically email online forms, so it's on the website as well. If you have questions, if you don't fit into a normal situation, here you go, send the form. And so that form came in as, I think, from Property Brothers. There was the email form or something. And then they said, well, we're from Property Brothers. We have this and that. And we want to talk to somebody about setting up long-term relationship. And we have people who occasionally have like Airbnb owners or executive corporate, housing owners who have multiple units. They need to make sure we can handle it. Or do we work on Sunday? And I'm like, it says on our website we don't, but they're like, do you really not work on Sunday? And I'm like, yeah, we really do not. So
not even for billionaires?
No, I mean, because, there's somebody who works, during the week really, really hard and scrubs the toilets. I think the least we can do for them is to give them like a day off or 2 days off with their family. I mean, it's just, how much is that worth, All
right. So let's say you've got a customer, good customer, nice, and you make money off of this job, good profit margin, and they need their house cleaned on Sunday. They're having a party.
Can't do it.
Can't do it. So there's some things that you just absolutely don't do, even if they're nice and they make money for the company.
Yeah, people say like, can you guys clean house topless? Like we get those requests because it's Vegas. We just can't do it. I don't care how much money you have, or how nice you are. It's just not gonna happen. And it's the same with Sunday. It's like people. And it's because our company is employee centric. So if we don't have any, but if I had employees who are saying like, hey, I'm trying to save for a new home, like let me work on Sundays, we'll be working on Sundays.
Okay. All right. So one of the things that we teach in the foundations course has always been really, really difficult for people to understand. And I'm going to ask you right now, and I'm putting you on the spot in front of all these people so that you're going to say yes. But my question is if I can use your example when we're teaching this, because one of the things we teach, one of the courses is about know what you do and know what you don't do. And be very, very clear about what those things are, and don't give in. If you don't do these things, never do them. What are you willing to stand for? What are you willing to stand for? So like in your case, you're willing to stand for like niceness and making money, but also family values you're willing to stand for, so people get those weekends off, and sounds like maybe some respect too there. So my question to you is, do you mind if I use some of your examples that you shared here today to teach this idea?
Oh, it'd be my honor. Absolutely.
Oh, thank you. It's a hard concept for people to understand. I think using your story would be very, very helpful for people to understand, because they're like, I'll do anything if they give me money. I need people to understand that you need to not do things too.
Yeah, it's just a lot of pressure because we're trying to sometimes gain every dollar we possibly can, but it's at the end of the day, you end up like not making any money and just being miserable. And I think a lot of times your business thrives if you thrive, if you love it, if you feel it, right? If you don't feel it because you're so frustrated and angry, then you're gonna miss out on a lot of money.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And you're just gonna suck the life out of yourself anyway. Oh, Tom, I'm so glad you pulled up this page. I'm gonna go off script here real quick. For those of you that are on this call right now, you see on the left-hand side, Dave Murray from the Julius Group. He shares some customer service tips. Y'all, this is one of the best guests that we have had on, and just doing this. It was great, right, Elena? Yes. I mean, if you're not familiar with the Julius Group, I actually think I have a couple of books here. At least one. It's one of my favorite books. Their teachings are so amazing, and they're tying right into what Elena is saying as well. Know what you do, know what you don't do, and never the twain shall meet. And you can have world-class service by not doing some things. So if you haven't watched that, please.
Dave had a PowerPoint deck, and he jammed a ton of information in a short amount of time. I've never had an hour go by as fast. So if you haven't seen that, do yourself a favor and take a look at that one. If you haven't subscribed to Cleaning Business Today, it's really easy. Email, first name, last name. I'll take the link to our Smart Business Moves resource page. I'll drop it here in the chat. Down here at the bottom of PDF and other documents is a link to the Julius Group presentation by Dave Murray. He's sharing the deck that he used in the Smart Business Moves that we did Monday. So you want to download that as well. It's some awesome material.
Yeah, never and always sheet for my business, and I sent it out. It's so great.
Yeah, it's so great. Well, anybody that was interested in this conversation today, I think was really going to benefit from Dave's conversation.
There was a lot of overlap. I like
a lot of overlap. Yeah, same thinking, right? The same mindset. Marlo, I'm with you. That's how we would handle it as well. Should ask if anybody wanted to volunteer for extra hours, maybe a bonus. Would be mandatory, but sometimes people are looking for those extra opportunities.
Appreciate the opportunity,
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we do the same thing.
So we're pretty much at the top of the hour here. We have another minute. What do you want to talk about for a minute?
Well, I actually have a question. So going to the news that Tom shared this at the top of the hour today, Elena, will that impact any of your decisions for your company moving forward?
In terms of
well, you had said that right now your big bottleneck is people, that you can't take on any new jobs. So if the unemployment is going to be parsed out in the way that they're talking about, are you going to have to make any changes to what you're doing? Are you I mean, I know we just got this information an hour ago. You probably haven't figured out what your strategy is,
that big windfall though, if there's like tons of people out on the streets looking for jobs, it doesn't, you know, if they throw $400 a week on top of state unemployment, it doesn't look like that's going to happen.
Well, what I decided to do last week, actually a couple of weeks ago, and because a lot of my company is automated, as you can see, everything's online, digitized, I have managers, everything. So I'm not involved in everyday stuff with my employees. But I realized that I don't do enough what Liz is so great at, which is kind of like interacting with my employees and showing them some love that's not automated. Something that's like, so I actually put on my calendar, employee appreciation hour. Every week I have to spend a full hour coming up with nice things for my employees, and that are custom and based on the stuff they actually do. I appreciate them. So I feel like I used to do that a lot in the beginning of our business, and that resulted in people bringing all of their relatives to work for us, and all of their friends to work for us, and all of that. So I need to start doing that again.
All right, so I got another book for you, Elena. I know you also really love to read. So here is a good book for you to look at during that hour.
Yeah.
1001 Ways. This book is so many good ideas.
I see some sticky notes and bent pages. And
always so many, so many good ideas. You flip through, it's like orange.
Yeah, you are
really love this.
So that's and what I love is like you're not spoiling them, so you're rewarding them, but like you hold them accountable too. So
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
well,
I love that too.
Elena, as always, you are awesome. You're one of my most favorite people in the cleaning industry, or business in general. There's always you amaze me in terms of what you do and how you do it. Thank you for joining us today.
And also, you're so humble, Elena. Like people that didn't know, anything about you would just think that you're just an average. And I know that's how you think of yourself, just an average business person going along, but you're just so much more than that. So, I mean, you really are a person to look up to. I
feel like a virtual rookie or imposter. So
that's funny.
So you guys take care. Tomorrow is On the Spot. Bring your questions. We have our secret guest that we've got some pretty generous hints. I think some of you might already have a pretty good idea who it is. It's going to be awesome. We'll see you guys tomorrow, 5 o'clock Eastern. Take care.
Bye, y'all.
Thank you, guys.